Reno so I can talk to you guys. Okay. There we are. There's the chat. Alright. Now I just got to figure out which intro I'm giving you guys. Let's see here. Let's pull up my little dealio here. Proceed anyways. Yes, proceed anyways, computer. Shoot, I don't even know. We'll take a guess here. All right. What's up, Matthew? Good morning to you, sir. King Bluto, welcome. Nice to have you here. Janet from another planet, good morning to you. Moses, my man, thank you for being in here. Vicente, welcome. Nice to have you here. I have some here at my apartment. They don't bother nobody. We're going to talk about it, Vincent, here in just a minute. I want to give you guys a good intro. Hold on. Let me find it. I'll find it. Not that one. How about the Sanford and Son intro? And welcome everybody to what is going to be a very special edition of my channel's show, I guess. Good morning everybody. Matthew, King Bluto, Janet, Moses, Vincent, Pinche Becky, good morning to you, ma'am. DOA is a fraud, welcome. Who else? Pippi, good morning to you. Malta McMurchie, good morning to you. Thank you for being in here. Terry Dillon, welcome in. Yes, you did catch a live. And thank you for being a member, Terry Dillon. I really appreciate all the members in here. Does help me. Mike Stevens, welcome. All right. Okay. So as you can see from the title there, misinformation. Are Venezuelan gangs taking over Aurora? Now, as you guys know, what's my stomping grounds? It's Aurora. Let me transition on over here and show you guys some of the headlines that are making waves. Venezuelan gang components in Aurora. Venezuelan gang takes over Colorado apartment complex, and this is actual news. All right, this is not in Colorado. This 9 News, that's not in Colorado. And it has a video. I've seen the video. Hold on. The video of these armed assailants taking over a particular building, or what they say building, but it was definitely not the building. It's hold on, let's get to the video. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is scary, right? It definitely is scary, right? You see this, you see a bunch of guys forcing their way into an apartment complex, into a specific room, right? And that's scary, right? First of all, number one, how do you know they're Venezuelan? All right. That's a good start. Pippi, welcome on in. Nice to have you here. Did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody. Okay. So these things are scary, right? Look, Colorado apartment building overrun by Venezuelan gang. And that is local news, right? Hell's Angels versus Venezuelan gang in Aurora, Colorado. uh, Aurora, Colorado police, there's the chief, respond to suspected activity by Venezuelan gang. Uh, okay, here's a good one. This is actually good reporting here. City of Aurora contradicting itself on Venezuelan gang activity. All right, first of all, and I did see something from the mayor that he posted on Facebook, which I believe he removed. Um, it's ridiculous, y'all, and I have to talk about this. Number one, the mayor of Aurora, Colorado, is incompetent. Okay, he's one of the most incompetent politicians to ever live. All right, he was. His name is Mike Kaufman. You can look up his record in the House of Representatives. He's an absolute failure of a man, of a politician. He failed when he was in the Congress, and he's definitely failed Aurora as a mayor over and over and over. So, if you guys remember, and the reason that I feel compelled to talk about this is because I was there when they had evicted 50 families from an apartment complex. This complex that you see right here, right? Um, I was there. They were not okay. These families were being kicked out because of code violations, right? According to the city, not because a gang took over the entire building. That's abject failure of the mainstream media to report what actually was happening, and it's abject failure of the city of Aurora. So I am here to tell you. I am here to tell you, as boots on the ground, right? KDOT and I are your representatives in Aurora. That's why our channels are fairly important here, right? I'm here to tell you that there are no gangs taking over complexes, all right? If the city wants to take over a building, they do it. I've seen this process happen in Denver, and Aurora is doing it right now in Aurora. The government in Aurora is doing the same type of things. If they want a building shut down, they will shut it down. Okay, so Cricket, welcome. Nice to have you in here. Probably looking for one person, and if they're here illegally, get the fuck out. Gorf Patrol says. I don't believe any human is illegal per se, but if you're here doing illegal shit, then let the full extent of the law put you in jail and take care of business. Okay. Cricket Cinema says, I'm glad you're reporting on this. I saw something on Rabbit's channel this morning, and I was curious about your perspective because you are there. I am here, and I didn't see what Rabbit reported, but look, I'm not here to like fan of war. I like Rabbit a lot. I like her channel. I think she's awesome, and one day maybe I can do a collab with Rabbit, because I think she has a heck of a show. But this stuff is getting out of control. The reporting is insane, and I think it was fanned by the mayor of Aurora. He got on his Facebook high horse and was saying that Venezuelan gangs were the issue. That's subterfuge, right? They do these type of things. They blame gangs all the time for their misgivings and their misconceptions and the police's nonsense, right? They do this quite often. If there's a problem, it's got to be the gangs. Got to be the gangs, right? Those gangs, right? I'm not saying gangs aren't an issue. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is this stuff is nonsense, right? There may have been an isolated incident here and there that, that happened here in Aurora and in Denver, with a gang member that is part of maybe an MS-13 outlier Venezuelan contingency. I'm not saying any of that. Um, what I'm saying is that this stuff is absolutely, unequivocally not happening in Aurora. All right, there wasn't a gang that took over an entire complex. Right. There's another headline that I wanted to. Oh, this one. This one's good. Hell's Angels reportedly heading to Aurora, Colorado to confront Venezuelan gang. This is I can't tell you how stupid this story is, right? I mean, first of all, there is no Venezuelan gang targeting any type of buildings or anything of that nature, right? The Hells Angels probably wouldn't even. I mean, it's not even on their radar, right? I understand but look at what we're doing here. This is like they're the saviors, right? The Angels are the saviors of Aurora, Colorado. You've got to be kidding me, man. I mean, guns are guns, right? I don't care if you're black, white, Mexican, whatever the case is. It's simply you're a gang, right? If you're Hell's Angels, you're part of a gang, right? Why aren't people up in arms about that, right? I would be up in arms about it. I mean, first of all, they're not coming to they're already in Colorado, the Hell's Angels. You see what I'm saying? I mean, this reporting is just getting it out of hand. Like, it's simply not true. Was that a scary video? Yes, it was scary. Look at this. You see that gun right there? In that picture? That is scary. When someone shows up to your apartment and has guns like that, that is scary. No doubt. And that needs to be taken care of. First of all, are these Venezuelans? How do we know? How do you know? How do you know those are Venezuelans? Right? So that's where shit gets started, right? And then this idiot mayor of Aurora gets on there and is talking about. I mean, it's contradiction after contradiction. This is ridiculous, man. This was the real story here, and I covered this. 50 families in this complex, and you guys saw the video, were displaced when they came in with police and ushered everybody out. I was there. All right, that's the story. The building was shut down for code violations, not because a gang took over the building. And by the way, I question those code violations, right? Oh my goodness. B Joneson, new sub. Thanks for the real news. Much respect. Thank you very much, B Joneson, and thank you for being in there. Please consider getting a membership. It helps me do the things that I do. Report, get police reports, all that stuff. That stuff is not cheap. It's only $3, which is less than a cup of coffee. There you go. That's my my due diligence, and I do have links to all the crowdfunding type stuff to help me out. So appreciate the support. Thank you for being a sub, and hopefully later on you consider being a member. Like Ginger, thank you for being in here. Yeah. It's like the MS-13 coming in and protecting South Central LA. It's just misinformation. It's just not happening. Are there gangs in Denver? Yes. Is there a contingency of Venezuelan gangs in Aurora? I mean, that's not confirmed. So all this stuff. Look at this. Yeah, these poor tenants. I feel bad for them. All right. Aurora mayor. God, he's such a putz. Such a putz. New York Post is reporting on this. Okay. Wow, he actually did something good here, y'all. Mayors of Denver and Aurora say exaggerated migrant gang coverage creating hysteria. Let's take a listen to this. I want you guys to. Yeah, that's definitely not the place to be right now. On 1 second, let's listen to this, okay? Let's take a peek.
Mayor Mike Kaufman says people at 2 or 3 apartment buildings in his city are being intimidated by a gang. Kaufman says Aurora police are handling the situation and making arrests. Aurora police have been working to root out a gang from Venezuela, while calling that gang's activity isolated. A former tenant provided us with video of people carrying guns inside an apartment complex at 12th and Dallas in Aurora on August 18th. Police have not said if this video, which they've had for days, shows members of that Venezuelan gang.
Did you catch that? This does not show whether or not this was a Venezuelan gang. All right, that's some good reporting. This guy reporting is really, really good. Kyle, I can't remember his last name, but he's really good.
The video has received tremendous attention, primarily from Fox News and other conservative media. Denver's and Aurora's leaders have said for weeks that the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua is here and that their police departments are working to determine the extent of their operations. Today, after 24 hours of intense national media coverage, Aurora Mayor Mike Kaufman and Denver Mayor Mike Johnson, who come from different sides of the political aisle, were united in telling us that exaggerated and inaccurate news coverage is creating new risks and problems while they try to deal with this gang. I want to ask you about that video that's being played nonstop some places. Correct to say that Aurora police have had that video as part of their investigation into gang activity for more than a week now. That's right?
That's correct.
But you've not yet determined if the men in that video are part of the TDA gang?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Oh, did you hear that? Does not determine whether or not they were part of that gang. Now, I'm inclined, based on the firepower that these guys brought in, that it is gang related, because you don't bring up that much firepower, right? So it's a giant leap to say that it's a certain gang over another gang or whatever, or if it's in fact a gang. I mean, could this just be a band of people that have a bunch of guns? It could be. I mean, like I said, I'm inclined to believe it's a gang.
I think you see that video over and over again and you feel like, oh my gosh, every newcomer to the city must be a part of Tren de Aragua and I should report them or call 911 or call 311 or, heaven forbid, take law into my own hands. That is not needed in any way. We have one of the best trained police forces in the country who knows how to do strategic operations, knows how to do gang prevention. We are on this every single.
That's Mike Johnson, the mayor of Denver, which I have some specific issues in regards to the homeless, which I will address at a later time.
Moment.
It's overwhelming our 911 system, our emergency call center, and so it's actually hurting our ability to respond to crime. And so I would hope people would not do that. I think we're in some sort of environment of hysteria, right?
Ah, the truth comes out, Mike Kaufman, after you scare people with your own Facebook post.
Right now, over this, it's a real issue. It's being dealt with. It's isolated.
Some of your fellow Republicans.
Hey, Ginger, thank you so much for gifting those memberships. I really, really appreciate that.
And city leadership say that you're not telling the truth, that you're covering this up, that Aurora police are covering it up, that Denver police are covering it up. What do you say directly to that concern?
Well, they've been conflating it with every issue where there's Venezuelans who gather together. There was an issue several Sundays ago where, in anticipation of the election returns, in Venezuela, there was some social media platforms that said let's do a meetup at this location in Aurora, and yeah, it was poorly organized. It wasn't organized, and it had some detrimental effects. And they somehow conflate that with gang activity.
Mayor Johnson, what are Denver police telling you about the scope of the threat posed by this one criminal organization, TDA, versus all of the criminal organizations operating in the metro area?
It's very small, the threat from TDA in Denver. It's smaller than many other organized criminal networks that might have been here for decades, the ones you know.
Hear that?
Like the Bloods or the Crips or others. And so we're monitoring it closely. We're going to make sure they don't get a foothold. Where we know we can intervene, we can. But Mayor Kaufman's really right. The risk on this is the folks most likely to be taken advantage of and abused by this are other newcomers, are Venezuelans who have arrived and are being bullied by these individuals.
This is a good point by Mayor Johnston here, all right? Okay, I understand people's misgivings about immigrants, right? I don't believe no human is illegal, all right? Hey, Vincent, thank you for gifting those memberships, my man. Really appreciate that. I agree with you, Janet. Media should watch themselves. If you got a membership from either Ginger or Vincent, make sure you thank them. And please consider keeping those memberships even beyond the 30 days that you get with them. I really appreciate that, Vincent and Ginger. Look, there's misconceptions, right? We're all people here, right? You know what I see when I see the quote unquote Venezuelans? I don't know if they're all Venezuelans, but they're all being lumped in, right? So let's say that all these people are Venezuelans. Let's just go with that kind of rhetoric here, just for the sake of argument, right? I'm sure some came from Guatemala and El Salvador and Mexico and any number of nations down south there, Brazil, Chile, Ecuador. All these people that want a better life. All right, let's just set aside our personality differences for 1 second here, right? And let's think about the human beings behind this, right? You know what I see when I see these quote Venezuelans? I see these guys, and it's kind of annoying. Here in Denver and Aurora, there's a lot of this type of activity going on, but I don't necessarily think it's bad, right? You've got all these quote-unquote Venezuelans on the corners of a lot of the streets here in the city, and they're washing people's windows for money, right? And a lot of them are very polite. They're persistent, but they're polite. Hey, do you want me to do this? No? Okay. Go on to the next car, right? It's annoying. I'm not interested. My car is clean most of the time. I don't need my windshield washed, all that stuff, right? So, but that's what I see. Somebody in chat said it earlier. I don't know who said it. These people just want jobs. They want the jobs that most people won't take, right? The minimum wage jobs, the minimum wage jobs that nobody wants, right? Let's see what's going on in chat here. Of all tyrannies, a tyranny sincerely exercised for the good of its victims may be the most oppressive. It would be better to live under robber barons than under omnipotent moral busybodies. I agree with you. That's a quote from somebody, Jonathan, and that's, Sarah Stiles says politics, pure politics, 100%. 100%. If this is true, why not call in the National Guard? That's a great point, Pippi Longstocking. That's a great point. If it's being rampant, right? Why do we need the Hells Angels? It's called the National Guard in, right? The National Guard's supposed to protect what's inside this country of ours, right? The military's, in all actuality, you know what the military is supposed to do for us? Protect our borders, right? We would have no need for border patrol or, on either border. Just put the Coast Guard on each coast, put the military on the southern border and the northern border. Everybody's concerned with the southern border, right? Those darn Mexicans, man. They're horrible. They're bringing rapists and they're not bringing their best, right? I'm here because my dad came here, quote unquote, illegally, right? But he worked his ass off. He worked his ass off to provide and let me enjoy the freedoms that I have here today. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I bleed just like the rest of everybody. So I'm sick of the southern border rhetoric, right? I'm not for open borders per se, but I think like my brother-in-law got deported, right? He was from El Salvador. If anybody should be in this country, it should be that guy, right? He was here for 20 years, never got a speeding ticket, never got any ticket of any sort, worked his ass off as a roofer, and he put up siding on a house for 20 years. And just because somebody had a racist bone in their body, they turned him in and said, look, this guy looks different. This guy looks different. He should be out of here. Worked for 20 years and never got so much as even a parking ticket. How many of us here can say that? I know I can't. I got a ticket 5 years ago. It was a bullshit ticket, but I got one. This guy, 20 years, Not one ticket. And he got deported because somebody's misgivings and somebody being afraid of the other. You know what I'm saying? The robber baron's cruelty may sometimes sleep. His cupidity may at some point be satiated. But those who torment us for our own good will torment us without end. For they will do so with the approval. And that continues. What's up, Bernie? Fab Daddy, welcome. Nice to have you here. KT Pita, welcome. Let's see what else we got here. Top of the morning to you, Blee Bits. Let's see. People are too quick to blame all for one for one group. It's so weird. Mitch, welcome. Nice to have you here. Venezuela has a lot of gun violence, so even if the people in the clip are Venezuelan, it doesn't make them gang members. That's true too. I mean, multiple things can be true at the same time, right? I mean, I literally covered the eviction of all those families in that, and how many of those people were Venezuelan that got kicked out? There were a lot of white families in that complex. You know what the problem was? They all were, I guess lower class, poor. Poorer than the average person. So, of course, they were jettisoned on out. Aurora is nefarious for a lot of things, but this is not one of them. All of our stories are basically the same. That's 100%. Sad, poor guy. What's up, Joko? Nice to have you here as well. Your brother-in-law should have tried to get citizen. He did, Fab Daddy. He tried over and over and over. Thousands of dollars. My parents spent thousands of dollars trying to get all the paperwork in line. But because of crooked lawyers and a crooked justice system that doesn't know its fucking ass from its head, he's now in El Salvador. With no path of coming back. No path. That's the problem. That's the problem that I see. What path do people have to come here other than coming here, quote unquote, illegally? By the way, we're all here illegally. All of us are illegals, except the Native Americans. And we've relegated them to certain reservations that are isolated, right? And some of them realized what capitalism was and put a few casinos on their reservation. I mean, it's horrible the way we think of other people in this country. I say welcome. Add to our glory. Yeah, 100%, Jonathan. 100. If you can make it here, welcome home. 100%. As long as you're not bothering anybody. Why does anybody have a problem with anybody else in this country? I'm with all of you in chat, right? I'm living proof that quote unquote illegal immigration works in this country. My dad was illegal and he worked hard. He got his papers, right? But that was no easy task either. You know what? My dad knew more about this country than most quote unquote Americans knew about this country when he got his citizenship. He had to go through rigorous testing. Rigorous testing, about presidents and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all of that stuff. Right? He knew things about this country that most Americans nowadays don't care to bother to find out. Right? Let's finish up this little report. It's only got a few more seconds here.
And feel afraid to call the police or call the city. We want to make very clear, if you have the least bit of concern, call 311, call 911. We do not ask for your citizenship or your status. You're at no risk of adverse action.
We want to work to earn their trust, to have their confidence, to step forward and identify who the bad actors are.
So I think both.
Well, Mike Kaufman is definitely a bad actor. Mike Johnson's a good guy. I haven't had a chance to meet with him. KDOT and I tried to meet with him, but he's months out in appointments. You have to make an appointment to meet with Mike Johnson. Mike Kaufman, I don't care to meet with. I know too much about that guy.
Sides are in for a new awakening. The folks that came here looking for the American dream will find it. Those folks who came here looking to cause chaos, I think will find that this is their worst nightmare, because we're not going to tolerate that in this city.
You can see my full unedited conversation with Mayor Kaufman and Mayor Johnson on the next YouTube channel and on the next section of 9news.com.
All right, that guy's really good. He's been in national news. He's an actual reporter. Kyle, can't remember his last name. Let's see if I can find his name. Let's see if let's show the cran. No. Yeah, no. Darn it. If somebody could get me his name, he's with 9 News Denver. Kyle something. I don't know his name, but he's actually a really good reporter. The issue I have is that many coming in haven't earned benefits. Many are getting housing, food, health care, yet our elderly who have worked can't. There's a huge issue, Becky. I think we have enough money in this country for all, right? The elderly, the disabled, the less fortunate. We have the money and we have the means. It's just that greedy corporations and greedy politicians hoard that money. You see what I'm saying? Let's go back. Let's see if we could see any of these other headlines here. From one video, though. One video. It becomes this big thing, like the Venezuelan gangs are taking over everything. Look at this. Armed Venezuelan gangs take over Colorado apartments. Okay, at least they said apartments and not the whole building, right? At least this headline is okay. Venezuelan gang components in Aurora, but reports are isolated. That's absolutely true. This is becoming a bigger story than what it should be. Let's see. Yeah. See, it's just headline after headline after headline over one dang video, right? And it's just not true. There's statements from the police. There's, it's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. What do we got in chat here? I agree with you, Becky. There's some problems there. We need to create more jobs. That's what we need to do. Can you guys hear me? Let's see. Make sure. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Fraud. Appreciate that. Capitalism needs a permanent underclass to sustain itself. I agree. Corporate doesn't want to pay a livable wage. That's a huge issue. Look, we're all Americans, right? We're all Americans. Even the people that come from South America are Americans as well. I know that hurts people's feelings, but sorry. The thing about it is, we need to find a way to create jobs that have a livable wage, and the only way that that's going to happen is putting pressure on the corporations and the politicians that are owned by those corporations. We don't live in a capitalistic society, right? Just make as much money as you can, and that's great for certain people. The 1%, it's really, really good for the 1%. Everybody else is struggling, and we need to find a way to equalize that a little bit. You guys recognize, I think it was in the 1920s, that the rate for corporations tax-wise was like 90%. And the corporations were doing fine. Everybody was doing great, right? I mean, and then, of course, you had the Great Depression, and then after that, it started getting better and all that. But what I'm saying is the corporations are putting too much pressure on the 99%, right? Even Walmart's pushing out small businesses left and right, and they have for decades. Walmart's a part of the problem. I hate shopping there, but unfortunately, sometimes that's all you can afford, right? Even Target is a step up from Walmart, right? And their prices are just more expensive. So where are you going to go, right? That's a conundrum that poorer people have. They have to make ends meet, right? It's a problem. It's a problem. I have a $75,000 rehab bill for my MCM, advanced Alzheimer's. Oh, for your mom. Sorry, I misread that. For your mom, advanced Alzheimer's with a hip replacement, $7,000 lawyer to get her Medi-Cal. That bill is after retro Medi-Cal. Gee, many. So there's a problem. We're the only industrialized nation, right? The only industrialized nation to not have a national healthcare system, right? Everywhere else, Canada, England, name it, even fucking Mexico, as shitty as it is, has national healthcare. Why doesn't this country have national healthcare? It's ridiculous, Becky. Nobody should ever go bankrupt because of a goddamn medical bill in this country. And by the way we treat veterans is appalling. It's appalling. When veterans end their terms of service, whether it's 2 years or 30 years, they should be welcomed back as heroes. Here's a house. All you have to do is pay the electricity, the normal bills, but this house is yours. I think that's the least this country could do for what you did for us, right? But these politicians won't do it. We have a huge homeless problem. There's solutions to these problems. Denver's they're starting to do a decent job. Aurora's doing a semi-decent job, although we need more rehab centers. We need more things of this nature. I can't think of what our money should go to more than helping the people. Fixing our roads would be a nice start, right? More rehab centers, mental health centers, things of that nature. Instead, we're paying these politicians hundreds, if not millions of dollars, right? Career politicians should never be a thing, ever in this country. Term limits for everybody, including the Supreme Court. We need help there too. We need help in the court systems because these lifetime appointments aren't working for anybody, Republicans or Democrats. Right? Yeah, they could do that, KT PETA. It's ridiculous. Paulie, welcome. Nice to have you here. Doesn't even go to our soldiers, going to contractors. That's another big problem. The military-industrial complex. I spoke about it earlier. You know, the military is supposed to protect the country, right? I don't see anybody invading the country. And if you think that people are invading our country, right, then put the military at the borders, right? Get rid of Border Patrol because they're not doing their job at all, right? If we're so worried about outsiders, put the military there, right? One or the other. Let's protect our borders. Let's stop doing the wars elsewhere, right? The Congo, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, all these wars, right? Well, maybe not Iran, but Iraq and Afghanistan, Vietnam. I mean, name it. We've had our fingers in it, right? We spend billions to give to Israel, and now I'm going to be called an anti-Semite because I called out Israel. Come on, man. What are we doing here? You know, let's stop the wars overseas. Let's protect what we got here and go forward. You know, that's what I'm saying. Border Patrol aren't allowed to do their job. My friend's brother works for them. Well, how about we just get rid of the Border Patrol because they're ineffective to begin with? All they do is harass citizens. I've seen it several times. Are you a U.S. citizen? Are you a U.S. citizen? When did we become Germany? You know, let me see your papers. Aren't we free to go to point A to point B? You know, if you see something suspicious, you got reasonable, articulable suspicion of a crime being committed, i.e. bringing people illegally over the border, then do something. Other than that, shut up and go about your business. I don't know what to say. Yoda Attacks, welcome. I'm not bashing Israel. They can handle their own. Why do they need billions and billions of dollars from the United States year after year after year? Aren't they a rich democracy in their own right? I mean, if you listen to Netanyahu, that's all he touts all the time. Oh, but we need more money. More money to what? To kill your neighbors? It's like us going into Mexico and just destroying Mexico. I mean, we already have ownership of all the silver mines in Mexico. I mean, Israel's goal is to get that little piece of land, right? There's no compromise. There's no compromise anywhere. Nobody wants to compromise. It's the same thing in this country. You're either a Democrat or a Republican, which is why I'm neither. I can't stand both parties because they're both owned by the corporations and both owned by money. You know, who's got the most money, the most donations? Dark money, light money, doesn't fucking matter. Which company? FedEx. Give me more money so I can make you tax exempt. Matter of fact, FedEx and Walmart and all these big corporations, we're going to make it so we give you money next time. Instead of you paying taxes, we're going to give you a tax refund. That's happened. The effective tax on FedEx and Walmart and all these companies too big to lose, right? And I blame Obama for that shit. When Ford and all the automakers were having trouble, and the banks by that measure, Wells Fargo and Chase and all the major ones, right? They were in trouble. I thought this was supposed to be a free market, right? So let's give you money to keep you going. Let's give you money. Here's money, 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 more money. More money to the corporations. Meanwhile, the American people are suffering. Yeah, that's what's going on. Let's give farmers money not to grow food. Yeah, there you go. Bail out Harley electric bikes. I mean, there's always bailouts for corporations, but never bailouts for us, right? People struggling, homeless people on the street. Where's their bailouts, right? They don't have the influence and power like FedEx and Walmart. All of us are barely hanging on. Most of us are 1-2 checks away from being homeless, just like the people that you see in my videos. Every time I go out on a Colfax run. You don't believe me? Just look at those. Look at the despair up and down Colfax. That's one street of despair in a city full of despair. Bridge, welcome. Nice to have you here. Follow the money is typically the answer, 100%. Yeah, who has the most money wins. I don't like that tact, Yoda, because we're all losing. If that's the case, we're all losing. Vomit flotation devices that pretending to be president's not my... Look, Obama was the president, whether you want to recognize it or not, just like Trump was the president, if you want to recognize it or not. Same thing with Biden. I'm not a fan of Trump, not a fan of Biden, not a fan of Obama. All this fucking bullshit going on with this, with women's rights could have been codified by Obama. That's something you can squarely put on Obama's shoulders, right? He could have codified Roe v. Wade, and none of us would be talking about this right now. None of us. It would just be law, and that's the way it is. You can like it or not like it, right? But that's it. You could just not like it or like it. I filed a human rights violation with the Mexican embassy after the Border Patrol beat the crap out of my 18-year-old. Hit him in the hole. I got him out. He went back home and was done with the USA. I mean, that's a human rights violation, Becky, of course. Yeah, 100% 420 network. A lot of people don't realize they're 1 or 2 paychecks away from being homeless. We need to help our 100%. The weakest people in our society are the people that we need to help the most. This is the reason, guys and gals, right? I'm very limited on money. I don't have a lot of it. I never do. But if I ever have, you can ask Bernie, you can ask people in the chat that have been with me for years. If I have money in my pocket, like physical money, it tends to leave my pocket. I don't care if it's $20 or $100. By the end of the day, if I go out and about, it's the reason why I can't carry money in my wallet, because I have something that a lot of people, a lot of our politicians and a lot of the corporations, the executives, a lot of what they lack, I have. It's called empathy and compassion. How many of you have empathy and compassion? I'm sure most of you do, because you're in my chat, right? My people feel the same way that I do. We can actually have a soul and feel bad for other people and want to help out, right? But I literally cannot keep money in my pocket for that reason. I care too much. I think if everybody cared a little bit more, things would be better. But instead, we go to our ivory towers, our houses, our apartments, and we don't think of others, right? And there's other people in those apartments and houses that are struggling too. How many of you have debt? I went through it. I went through bankruptcy at one point in my life. Luckily now, I'm debt-free except for my car. You know, I do have to pay that car payment. It doesn't stop. You think Toyota's gonna forgive me if I miss a payment or two? I do have a constant hole in my pocket, Fab Daddy. I give it to homeless people. I can't keep it in there. I really can't. That's really nice of you, Vincent. Be careful, though. It's a big misconception that our taxes fund the government. They do not rely on us to fund them. They will and do simply print more money when our taxes aren't enough to achieve a budget shortfall. They do, Matthew, and then they do this thing. That's why I wasn't a big supporter of Jill Stein. I did appreciate her stance on global warming and the environment and all that, but I couldn't support her because her answer to all of that was quantitative easing. Quantitative easing. Yeah, it's not going to work. I've gone bankrupt 3 times. Once personal and 2 businesses. See? Happens to people. I was homeless for 3 years. I had no car. You see, KT? There you go. Yeah, children. You know, it's tough with the children that are out on the streets too. I see a lot of it, you know, and it is heart-wrenching. There's not much anybody can do, right? But I always tell people, do you have a quarter? You can go buy a bottle of water and hand it to somebody. You know, if you have $4, you can buy a whole case of water at Sam's Club or Costco. Buy some water. It helps. You know? Yeah, they're going to track you down and take the car. Exactly, Yoda. You miss a payment, you're fucked. There's no forgiveness, right? But yet they want forgiveness. Like, for example, Ford was one of the big ones. If not for the Obama fucking bailouts, Ford would have been done as a company. They would have been gone. Too big to fail, right? This is supposed to be free market here. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, right? The old New York phrase, right? If you can't make it as a big company, get the fuck out. Let someone else come up, right? Tesla. Even though I'm not a fan of Tesla. But you see what I'm saying? Try it. Try making a company. But do your workers good. Pay them. Minimum wage in Aurora is still like $11 an hour. Can you afford everything on $11 an hour? Times have changed. Inflation, right? Oh, my goodness. I had a meeting with the Department of Mental Health. I asked what they were doing to prevent homelessness. How are they helping our working class? Answer: they haven't even thought about it. Yeah. People were telling me to get in debt before the crash of 2008 so I could claim bankruptcy. Our economy is built on debt, 100%, Fab Daddy. That's the most heartbreaking of it all, seeing the children out there. Yes. Ford is still in business because it's a provider of police vehicles. Well, they were in trouble, 420. They were in huge trouble before they got bailed out. They were one of the big companies that got bailed out. Them and I believe it was Chase Bank and Bank of America. All these people got huge. We want to talk about welfare queens in this country, right? Put a crown on fucking Ford. Put a crown on Chase Bank and Bank of America. All these huge ass, too big to fail businesses. They're the welfare queens, not the woman, right? The single woman who's got 2 kids that she's trying to provide for, right? Welfare queens, really? You're going to compare that to Ford and Chase Bank and Bank of America with all their billions, Walmart, FedEx, all these fucking people that don't pay taxes now? Oh my goodness. We live in a nation of people who won't help our fellow man. Are you your brother's keeper? Yes, you are. I agree, Vincent. The interest payment on Ford's bailout haunted them. They should have been just went out of business. And the police, they could go somewhere else for their vehicles. Go to Chevy. Go to Toyota. Go to Nissan. Go to Kia if you want to go cheaper. You know? Holy hell. These people got so much money. But yet we're the problem, right? The people are always to blame for all the United States problem. It's not the politicians. It's not the corporations. You know? It's not the corporations who legally bribe all these politicians. $30 an hour minimum wage. Give the people back their pride in themselves. Help them help themselves. I agree with you, Vincent. At least 20, right? $20 an hour. Oh, but you can't give McDonald's workers $20 an hour, can you? Why? Those people work hard. I don't give a fuck if they're teenagers or old people or middle-aged people or whatever. Those people work hard. And don't give me this bullshit that raising their wages is going to raise the price of the food. You know what raises the price of the food? The CEOs and the executives' fucking multi-million-dollar annual wages. That's what raises the price of your food at McDonald's. It ain't the average worker. Again, you're blaming regular people for the problems of the United States. When in reality, it's the companies and the CEOs and the executives. And if you're an executive or a CEO, more power to you. You worked hard to get there, but what are you doing now? Are you working as hard as that McDonald's worker underneath you? I highly doubt it. You're having business meetings and you're flying on jets to conferences and stuff like that. You're not working as hard as that worker is, right? You might have worked hard to get to your position, but once you're there, you're not working as hard as the average worker at all. Big Chief, welcome. Nice to have you here. I'm just going on a soapbox rant here. Have you noticed with the bank, the more money you have, they'll give you like 1 penny interest, but if you're low on funds, they'll charge you $1,015 a month, 100%. The banks are a big problem of this country. Their interest rates are insane. Sure, they'll loan you money. They'll give you a credit card. I've got credit cards right now. I've got an Amazon card that gives me 5% back on anything I purchase on Amazon, right? That's awesome. Till you look at their what they get charge in interest if you don't pay them on time. 30%. So they'll give you 5% just so they can take 30% from you. It's super tempting too. And I got a huge limit. I got a huge limit on Amazon. I could buy a lot of shit on Amazon, but I don't. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. In California, McDonald's pays 20. Yeah, but that's in California. Look at the prices in California. That's the only way people can survive there, Becky. 10 cents for McDonald's bags? Oh, my goodness. And all that money goes to the CEOs. It's all these fat cats sitting on their butts taking all the money and telling you to get back to work. 100% King Bluto. I'm not saying there isn't roles for executives and CEOs and stuff like that. There's a bread company where the CEO refuses to take over $100,000 a year, which $100,000 is a lot of money. But in the grand scheme of things, with all these CEOs raking in millions, there's a CEO of a video game company called, I believe it's EA. His name is Bobby Kotick. He makes like 10, 12 million a year. That's insane. That's insane. Nobody should be making that much more money than their average employee. Holy shit. I was at a job site, and the customer was crying about the Packers not doing a good job. I told him, sir, to get good service, you would have to pay the people a livable wage. And I agree. What would happen to our investors who are trying to buy their third house? Who's going to fight for them? Yeah, exactly. 100%. From what I hear, they're trying to up it, the minimum wage in California to $25 an hour. That would be interesting, King Bluto. It should be 25 in California because everything else is super expensive in California, right? I mean, the 25 you could actually maybe survive if you were like saved your pennies, right? 25 here in Colorado would do most people a world of good. You could live, you could breathe, you could buy that house that you've been eyeing. Right? You could pay that mortgage, maybe, if you did it right. Florida, I think it's still at $8 an hour. Holy fuck, man. Well, the federal minimum wage is still stuck at $7.25 for some weird reason. No idea why that's the case. F the new math. Remember, old price minus cost equals profit. 100%. It's ridiculous. New profit plus cost equals price. Yeah, it's crazy. EA Sports Entertainment, that's right. It's expensive in Denver, too. Not as expensive as California, but it is expensive in Denver, Vincent. I live here. I live in Denver. I actually live in Denver, kind of near the airport. But Aurora is just, right there. I border Aurora. That's why I'm always in Aurora doing stuff. I care about the people in Aurora and Denver. I make that much, and I'm living in an apartment. Yeah. I have no clue what minimum wage is in Michigan, but I'm sure it's lower than California. Yeah, exactly. I don't have any credit cards. My dad gives me $10,000 to pay them off. 20 years ago, I paid him back. Although it was a gift, I felt bad taking his money. I still see his face. So proud of me. Yes, Becky. I'm proud of you, too. I'm not in debt other than my car. And I'm 3 years away from being free of that chain, which is nice, right? Right to work states typically favor employers, not employee rights. 100%, Bridge. We're a right to work state here. You figured the government minimum wage would be the highest. You would, and it should be. 2-bedroom apartment, $2,000 a month. Wow. It's crazy, Vincent. Yeah, Northern California. I mean, all of California is expensive. And then these politicians want to talk about the grocery prices like that's the issue, right? Well, did you guys see that memo that leaked out from Kroger? They're part of the problem. We don't have enough money for our CEOs and executives. Again, do you guys see the pattern? You guys see the pattern of what's going on in this country? The CEOs, the big corporations, those are the people to be upset at, not the homeless people, not the average citizens pointing fingers at each other, Democrats and Republicans, right? Meanwhile, the same bird, two wings of the same bird, are sitting there laughing at all of us, the politicians, the corporations especially. None of them care. None of them care. $3,200 for a 1-bedroom? Holy cow. What makes me angry is that when the president is done, they get paid for life. Why can't they get a job like everybody else? I agree. And they get protection, Secret Service protection. I'm so fortunate that my husband, who became disabled 10 years ago, worked for a French company, benefits and pay until age 67. You see, Ginger? That's what I'm talking about. In other countries, they don't have these worries, right? They have corporations, big corporations, but they pay their fair share of taxes. The citizens are taken care of. There's a national health care system, so you don't have to worry about going into bankruptcy with it, you know. You're not tied. I think it's insane. You're tied to your employer because of your insurance. Do these employers want to be saddled with health care? It's crazy. It's crazy how it works here. That money that they get paid for life could go back into our pockets to help us, meaning medical. Yeah. Medical. Education, medical, all that. Yeah. Well, anyways, I don't want to keep you all too long. I just wanted to point out that we don't have a huge Venezuelan gang problem in Denver and Aurora. Are there gangs? Yes. Is there violence? Yes. It's not widespread. It's not. Oh, man. Holy cow. It's just not happening, people. If you guys want to comment, let me know what your thoughts in the comments. If you're on the replay crew, I would appreciate that. I do the comment show on Saturdays, so I will get to your comment. If you want to, be heard even further, you can email me, MexicanLonghair@gmail.com. I will address them as I can. I've been kind of neglecting my email lately, but the Hells Angels aren't here, Polly. No, they're not on their way. We're not going to have a big gang war in the streets here in Aurora, Colorado. No. All right. Before I go, we talked a little bit about homeless, and a lot of the homeless have a lot of mental issues that they deal with on a daily basis, just like all of us have mental issues that we deal with on a daily basis. If you guys are struggling with your own mental health, please make sure to reach out to somebody that you know, love, and trust. In lieu of that, my email is MexicanLonghair@gmail.com. I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, or a counselor, but I do listen. Sometimes that helps. But if I don't get back to you in a timely fashion, just remember, somebody out there thinks you are their favorite. Hold on to that thought. It could save your life. There's a hotline out there. It's 988 in North America. If you dial that number, you'll get connected to a professional right away. If you're uncomfortable with talking with someone, you can also text that number. If you are not in North America, just type in your browser of choice, mental health help, click on any of those links, and that'll get you the help that you sorely need. Like I said, my email is MexicanLonghair@gmail.com. So you can do that too. Sometimes listening helps. Here as much as I can to help you guys as well. I care about you. I care about other human beings in general, and I want everybody to be good, do good, help everybody out. All right, everybody, have a great day. I appreciate each and every one of you. Cricket Cinema, thank you for being in here. Bridge says, as a native Chicagoan, tried about hearing all the baloney about shootings. Those problems have always been in areas that have crisis and poverty. 100%. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be talking to you guys throughout this week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out much. My back has been giving me a lot of trouble lately, but I will do the best that I can. All right, take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe out there. See you on the next one.